Welcome back to another Train Tuesday. I am your host, Jim Wiggin, and I have got some great news to share with you today. Now, one thing I do want to let you all know, as you can probably tell by that little ticker down below me, this is a pre-recorded program. So unfortunately, I don't have any shout outs for you today, and I won't be able to interact with you, but don't worry, stay tuned. We got some great things to show you, and I've got a neat, something really cool here in the studio that you're going to want to see. So you don't want to miss out on that. And you know what? When I come back next week, we'll do it again live. We'll do it live, as they say. So let's get started. This week, we're going to be talking about Roundhouse. And I'm really excited about what we're doing in Roundhouse this month. We've got boxcars from a little bit of all the eras, but we're going to start in the 1970s. Something to think about here is these Roundhouse FMC boxcars. Now, a little bit of history on these. Back in the 1970s, there was a program called the Per Diem. The Per Diem basically allowed a lot of short lines to take advantage of boxcars. And one of the leading manufacturers of these boxcars during the Per Diem era of the 1970s was FMC. Now, FMC stood for Food Machine Corporation, and they built a lot of different things, including, just to look it up on Wikipedia. If you've got some time, it's really interesting to read about FMC. But these FMC boxcars were everywhere in the 1970s, and they continued to work throughout the 1980s, the 90s, and even today. And that's what we're going to talk about today. These Roundhouse boxcars, we're going to be doing them from the 1970s all the way to present day. So if you're a fan of the 1970s through the 1980s and 90s and beyond, stay tuned. We've probably got a boxcar for you. And everything that I'm going to show you today, every road number has 3 different road numbers for it. So just because we show one boxcar doesn't mean you can't get 3 road numbers of that same boxcar. So let's get started. We're starting up first with this really cool boxcar. This is modern day era, of course. This is BNSF. This would be after 2005 when they introduced the swoosh scheme. Now, this was probably originally a Santa Fe or a Burlington Northern boxcar. It was pressed into service quickly. And you can tell that it's all up to date with its markings, its colors, and its logo. And yes, you'll still see these occasionally anywhere from yards to local runs in between towns and such. So the boxcars aren't completely out of the picture yet. There's still a lot of them out there, doing what they were intended to do. Now, that's not the only modern car that we did. We also did another one from the 2000 era. And that one is a little north of the border. That's Canadian National. Now, again, you're going to see these boxcars in this paint scheme from the 2000s onward. With a little bit of work, you can make these ultra modern, but these are perfect for your mid-2000s layout or club, or just to run with your club when you set up your modules. Now, going back to the 1970s and the Per Diem, when the Per Diem movement was in its height, we've got the MNS. Say that 3 times fast, MNS. Can be a tongue twister. Really bright boxcar. That's what the FMC boxcars look like in the 1970s for the Per Diem program. It was really the last era, if you will, of bright, colorful freight car equipment. And this one's no different. And again, this one's available in 3 different road numbers. Now, we've also got the Southern Pacific. The Southern Pacific is another one that's perfect for 1970s modeling. This is exactly how Southern Pacific painted their boxcars at this time. And again, 1970s era has been picking up momentum with you modelers in the past few years. So we wanted to make sure we offered this for you. We didn't stop there with the Southern Pacific and that era. We wanted to do something a little bit newer, but not ultra new. So we also introduced a 1990s version. This has got that really cool speed lettering, really cool boxcar, really cool lettering. 1990s, another era that a lot of you are requesting. So this would be the perfect boxcar right before the UP bought them out. You could even justify running these after the UP takeover, because boxcars don't get painted as quickly as typically as other high visibility things such as locomotives. Now, we talked about BNSF earlier. Let's talk about one of the predecessor lines, and that would be the Burlington Northern. Now, it's hard to miss these with their Cascade green paint. Really eye-catching paint scheme. This is late 1990s. Now, this is when BN decided to simplify their paint scheme just a little bit. They didn't make their logo quite as big. It was a little bit simplified from what they had when they introduced their paint scheme in the 70s and onward through the 80s. By the late 90s, they had this simplified paint scheme, but it's still striking. Now, of course, a lot of these would have lasted into the BNSF era. Same reason for the Southern Pacific. So these Roundhouse cars that I'm showing you today, these are available for pre-order until the end of the month. That's Friday, October 29th. Contact your dealer and place your order for any of these. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. These are great cars for operations. While they don't have the detail and fidelity of, say, a Genesis car or a ready-to-roll car, their painting, their markings, all of that are exceptional. So if you want a good operations car, these are perfect for that. They still have metal wheel sets, and of course they've got the body-mounted couplers. They include the McHenry magnetic couplers. So they're perfect for operations. So it doesn't matter if you've got a small shelf layout or a large home layout, a club layout, Fremo module, what have you. These are perfect for that. So consider getting some of these for your next operation meet, or maybe you just want to introduce a younger modeler into the great hobby. Pick them up a few of these boxcars. They're great additions to the layout. Now, like I always say every week, we've got some news as well. There's always something going on here at Athearn. I wanted to share some pictures with you. Some of these I've shown in previous broadcasts, but I wanted to show them to you again, and just in case you missed them. Now, while I am saying that, if you ever miss a Train Tuesday, please go over to our YouTube channel. Look up the Athearn YouTube channel, and while you're there, go ahead, click like, subscribe, ring the bell. That way you'll get notifications every time a new Train Tuesday is on board, or a new announcement video, or any type of video that Athearn may put together for you. And look through our archives. Now, we talked about some of these pictures a couple of weeks ago, but if you missed them, we'll go ahead and show them to you once again. Now, quite often we get pictures from outside of Athearn, and Chris Rippey is someone that has worked with us in the past, and once again, he is showing off the ready-to-roll SD40-2s. Now, these were taken at his club layout, and you may remember Jack. Jack is one of our developers. He's friends with Chris, and Chris is nice enough to take a lot of the pictures of the locomotives that Jack brings to the club layout. Now, these are the final stages of production models, which means when we start seeing these pictures, we're going to start seeing these at our dealers. So you may start getting some phone calls that your pre-order SD40-2s are in stock. So here's another picture of the Genesee and Wyoming set. Really striking paint scheme. And it's a paint scheme that you can see from California all the way to Vermont. It's really taken hold of this country with its short line purchases. Here's a nice close-up of that particular unit. And again, these are ready to roll, but they do have some features that a lot of manufacturers don't include with their locomotives. You're going to see grab irons. You're going to see lift rings. You're going to see windshield wipers, ditch lights, things of that nature. Now, we talked about these last fall, and these are the Fast 40 SD40-2s that would usually run in a set with the DDA 40Xs that Union Pacific had at that time. So this is the contemporary paint scheme for that era. A rather striking paint scheme with the armor yellow and the harbor mist gray. You also have that beacon, rotary beacon on the cab. And a really cool picture of these two exiting a tunnel. And we couldn't forget Cascade Green. These SD40-2s, we've got two different schemes here on the Burlington Northern. The lead unit is what the rail fans used to refer to as the whiteface scheme. It was an attempt to make the locomotives more visible at grade crossings. And that large stylized Burlington Northern logo on the nose, whereas the second unit has the Burlington Northern logo on the long hood, complete with its name spelled out. Now you really get a chance to see that the grab irons are separate in this piece, because if you look carefully at the second unit, you can see that they're carefully painted white. And again, these are ready to roll. They're not Genesis, but they really have a lot of nice features to them for a ready to roll model. Last but not least, I hope you guys pre-ordered these because they're going to sell out really quickly. This is the Athearn 75th Anniversary SD40-2 number 1946. Now, 1946 is when Athearn started officially making kits for you guys to put together and model. Now, as times have gone on, we've made things a little bit easier for you. You don't have to do the kit building like you had to in the past. Now you just simply have to take the locomotive or freight car out of the box and place it on the rails and run it to your heart's content. Now, weathering, of course, is always optional. That's up to the modeler. But for the most part, we've done all the hard work for you. Here's another picture of the 1946. Looks like we got top brass in there because I see a passenger car from an earlier run. That is also a Athearn anniversary car from a previous anniversary. That one is no longer available. If you do a quick search on some of those online auction sites, you may have a hard time finding these. So hopefully, like I said, you pre-ordered one of these because they will sell out quickly. And one last picture of the Athearn 1946. Again, if you did not pre-order one of these, you might want to get on the phone with your dealer now. There's a possibility that their dealer has ordered more than just pre-orders, but has ordered some store stock, but it could be limited. So the sooner you get in touch with your dealer, probably the better. Something else I wanted to share with you too is product development has shared some pictures with me. These are pre-production samples of the Dash 9s, and here we've got the Heritage 2 BNSF. Really cool. I'm excited about the BNSF just because I rail fan it so often. But here's the Heritage 2. I remember when these were brand new from General Electric. Really cool unit. Now, don't forget, these are Genesis 2.0, so they're going to have all those lighting features such as lit number boards, ditch lights, headlights, and of course, ground lights, which I think is really a cool feature on these locomotives. Here's a close-up. Now, keep in mind, these are not professional pictures done in a studio. These are done by the developers. They just want to share these with you because, quite frankly, they're cool locomotives, and they're really cool to see after a year of waiting for these locomotives. It's cool to see how they're progressing. Look at all the detail that has gone in to the Dash 9s. You can even see the GE builder's plate on the frame. Here's a rear shot of the same Dash 9, Heritage 2, number 5009. Now remember the MU hoses, they are all flexible. They're not hard plastic. They're a flexible rubber-like material. And then we get this really nice shot here. Hard to believe these are now old locomotives. When these Dash 9s first came out, they were revolutionary in their appearance and their performance, everything about them. And there's still, a lot of them are still soldiering on for the Class 1s. So really cool stuff coming to you from Athearn. I'm really excited about those Dash 9s. I guarantee you the BNSF ones are probably going to sell out really quickly. A lot of response from the BNSF locomotives. That's not the only one though. C&W had quite a bit of excitement about the Dash 9s. And I wanted to share with you today, I've got one here in the studio. I'm going to go ahead and switch cameras. And here we go. This is an actual production locomotive. This is the CNW-9. And I distinctly remember rail fanning in Rochelle, Illinois in the late 90s and getting pictures of these. So it's not going to be long. As you're viewing this, you may even be getting phone calls from your dealer if you pre-ordered these. If not, I'd say within a few weeks. Well, just take a look at that. It's just an absolutely beautiful locomotive. And you'll see more of these locomotives and pictures on social media. We'll try to post some videos when available. Really cool. It's neat to see the CNW again on a wide cab. It's been a long time. So keep that in mind. The pre-orders, all you guys out there that got the pre-orders, you should be hearing from your dealer soon. Now, one thing I do want to stress, and I have been stressing it for the last few weeks, is right now with everything going on in the world, I'm sure you've heard on the news, there are shipping delays. Now, we try to keep our shipping dates as close to the real time as possible. Right now, though, it's a little bit more fluid. So keep an eye on our website, athearn.com. We try to keep those dates updated as best we can. But keep in mind, we do appreciate your patience because some of those dates can be delayed somewhat just because of everything that's going on in the shipping right now. Other than that, we're really looking forward to the SD40-2s. And of course, we're looking forward to the Dash 9s as well. Now, remember, the Roundhouse items that we talked about today, you have until Friday, October 29th to get to your dealer and pre-order those. And what a great operations car. It's definitely a great operations car. Maybe you want a Genesis, but this is a great stand-in until you get the Genesis. It's a great club car. It's a great car to take if you're in a modular club because they transport so much easier than a car that has such fine detail. Leave those fine detail cars for home where they won't get broken and invest in some of those Roundhouse cars. So we don't have any questions this week because, like I said, this is a pre-recorded program. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below and like and subscribe to get more Athearn Train Tuesday videos as well as other Athearn videos. And until next time, be happy, be healthy, be safe, do some modeling, and high grade.